as we look at all of this solar power and all of this wind power that's mismatched on the grid as to when people are using things, you need battery storage to take in the power and make it available when used. Well, vehicle to grid can make it so that you actually make money using the battery on your car. Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I'm here today with founder and editor Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
Hey, it's going great. Thank you very much.
So I wanted to talk about an article from Bill Pierce at EV Info, and he's talking about how bi-directional charging and DERs. Now, that's a term I think it stands for distributed energy resources. I'm not 100% that I've got that right. Will save grids from the massive influx of EV charging. Now, I've talked on here a couple times about vehicle to grid. It's usually a Wednesday thing with Mike Herzog, since he's the engineer, but it's a topic. And if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now with EV World, I wouldn't have any clue what vehicle to grid meant. I'd probably just completely blow it off, but it's such an important concept. So as we look at all of this solar power and all of this wind power that's mismatched on the grid as to when people are using things, you need battery storage to take in the power and make it available when used. Well, vehicle to grid can make it so that you actually make money using the battery on your car. And the way this works is during the off-peak hours, the energy company is pushing cheap power into your car. And during peak hours, like from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at night, it's taking power from your car and using it to power the grid. And you're getting paid for that power because you're doing power generation at a higher rate than what you received it as. So you're making a profit from having your car on the grid. And then after 11 p.m., when it dies off and then the wind starts to pick up, then it fuels your car back up. It's a very interesting theory.
I was just going to say, so how old do you think this idea is?
Oh, God, I'm sure it's been around as long as wind and solar have been in use.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of electric cars and taking that and using it.
Well, 2010?
Oh, no. Modern version, late 90s.
Wow.
Dr. Willett Kempton, and God, I cannot remember. There were two professors that I interviewed in 1999, I think, who had just written a paper on this. And so I got them on, and I did, one of my very first podcasts was on this. But I think we can even go back further, because I think, if memory serves, some of the very first work on wind to battery and in-home storage and that kind of thing was done by Thomas Edison.
Damn, that's really getting back there a ways.
A long ways, yeah. So it's all old things are new again periodically.
Yeah, and I believe the DERs are referring to the big, large-scale battery farms. So other than us talking about how Hawaii just replaced a coal-fired power plant and they've already done this in Australia, it'll come to the mainland U.S. I know it's already in process, but what's happening is they're taking EV-style batteries. And we reported Cattle yesterday, or CATL, just reported that they ran a 5-year test on some of these with zero degradation in the energy storage capacities of these batteries. So we're going to see these massive battery farms popping up.
And they all won't be lithium EV batteries. I mean, those will have a place because we'll want to be able to recycle those coming out of the cars. But there's a lot of work being done on other chemistries and other types of storage, everything from basically hot bricks and storing heat in, in a giant oven of some kind and pulling the heat out of that, to different chemistries from Edison's iron batteries. He was working on that back over 100 years ago, to sodium batteries, to different chemistries that people are coming up with. So.
Well, I told you about a friend is working on a project in Jamaica where they're being required by the World Economic Fund to be carbon neutral when they build this paper manufacturing facility. And so they're going to have a solar farm, and then they're going to have water pumped up a hill into a reservoir during the day. And so the water is going to actually be the battery. The water will be the battery. And then at night, it's going to release the water, and it's going to use hydroelectric to power the facility.
And Jamaica is perfect for that. If you look at the topography of that island, it's because you've got all these mountains and all these little valleys and things that you can take and, put a dam in front of, and plenty of, water that comes down through the rainy season and things of that nature. That's perfect for it. That's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, but it's interesting because you're talking about other types of batteries. Now, at first, you talk about other types of batteries. I'm thinking about sodium ion. And then you got me thinking about, they're doing this with building the retention pond, and it's really crazy to think about that they use that much solar to pump that much water to power the factory and go back with all of that.
I think they have that. They've had that for, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years in the Canary Islands. They've been doing that, or the Azores that do, yeah.
It sounds like something the Romans would have done.
You know what? If the Romans had progressed far enough along with, electrical generation, because they already had, they were already masters of water manipulation.
The aqueducts.
They didn't have donkeys, going around a track powering these things. They had just figured out how to do this and rely on the resource. Of course, they had to burn lots of wood to heat the water, but as far as moving water around, man, they're just masters at it. And those projects are still standing 2,000 years later. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it does boggle the mind, doesn't it? But the vehicle to grid, and if you don't understand the concept, is that and this is still in its infancy. Laws are already being passed in various states to allow it. I think Maryland was the first state. They just passed something like in the past month. And what it does is it allows you to use your car's battery as a vessel to store energy either from the grid or your solar, and then to send it back to the grid when they need it, and you get paid for it to make extra money.
So think of it currently, like my car upstairs takes energy from one direction. I take it from the grid and put it in the battery. Whereas moving forward, we'll have the ability to take it back out of the battery and share it either with our own little network in our house, or share it with our neighbors, or share it, on the larger grid.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. If you like this video, then please press the like button. If you like the content and would like to see more videos on electric vehicles, then please hit the subscribe button. If you have some feedback for us, please let us know in the comments. Have a great day.